Welcome along to EXFL Tier 2 Season X. We are here for round 17 out of 22. It's the United States Grand Prix at Texas. We have 17 drivers at the moment. We're expecting one more to join to make it 18 around COTA. As the drivers gear up out of the pit lane, getting ready to set their first lap time of the session. 18 minutes ahead of us then to determine who's going to take pole for this US race. The first US race of the season, as obviously Miami isn't on the calendar and we still have Vegas to go after this. So yeah, 2 races in the US, 2 races in Italy, 1 race everywhere else. We have Deadgun back in the Red Bull then. Simon reserving in the Williams. Technically made his debut the other race, but I guess didn't even start the race in Italy. But he still entered it. So this will be his proper first test to see where he can be. We've got Warren in the Aston Martin, hoping to get some more points on the board for his team. Once again on the hard compound tyres, the only driver to really do that kind of thing in qualifying. He got P7 last time out, so he'll be hoping to continue his point streak. Speaking of point streak, Frosty Life is on a pretty good roll so far with back-to-back top 5s, and he loves it here in Texas. He's had a really great record around here across the seasons he has raced in EXFL Tier 2, so he'll be hoping to keep that up, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can do out on the mediums. Birdie Saints scored his first points of his Tier 2 career last time out in Singapore, a hectic Grand Prix, saw him finish 9th. We got Enric, last week's race winner, and favourite at the moment to win again today. Still don't really know about his pace in terms of time trial times for today, so that's a bit of an unknown. But I'm sure he will be right up there like he has been for a lot of the season. Not really in championship contention due to missing a few races and a few poor results. So he still lacks about, 60, 70 points off the top with 6 races to go. It's a massive feat to climb, but you never know. And we've got Chaz F1 was returning and reserving in the Haas seat. 101 races to his name, so this will be 102. We've got Ridian back in the Williams, announcing he might retire at the end of the season. Well, probably might. It seems like Vegas will be his last race. So he's got a few races to go. His second last race in the US as he crosses the line to begin his first run of the session. We've got John Dawson making his debut today in the McLaren as a reserve. Hopefully he can show us what he's made of. We don't really know where on the grid or what pace he's going to set. My guess, around 10th. You never know. If he can get into the top 10, that would be great. Josh Hewitt then, World Championship leader, leads the championship by 18 points. Last time out, his main rival Sam did not race, and they were level on points, so he finished second. Well, he's just been given another lifeline because unfortunately Sam isn't racing again today. No one's more annoyed about that than Sam himself. So today could be a title deciding day. With Josh Hewitt, wherever he finishes, his point lead from 18 will extend. However, Drifting is 27 points behind Josh as he's on the wets there. So if he scores a top 5, Drifting will move into the top 2 spaces in the championship ahead of Sam, and he will be the closest challenger to Josh Hewitt. So Drifting, who could have potentially got his first win here 1 year ago, missed out on the win on the last lap due to battling with Josh Hewitt and losing the win because first had a 3-second and they managed to get a 3-second gap in this sector alone, as Chubster now sets the first time in the Ferrari, who's dropped down to 6th in the championship as Enric moved ahead of him last week. We've got Bluey and Nathan in the RB once again. We've got La Sombra, another debutant today, reserving in the Ferrari as Enric goes 1.1 seconds quicker than Chubster with a 31.3. So La Sombra, Alejandro, Spanish driver, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but yeah, he goes P7 at the moment. Then we are left with Yonder in the McLaren and Eggy in the Mercedes, our common drivers throughout this season who have put on quite a show in a lot of races. But we'll see what they can do here. So yeah, once again, Enric proving clearly why he will, if everything goes smoothly, not be in Tier 2 next season. I guess that's one way to put it. Eggy around the final corner then. A 2.7 in the middle sector will cross the line. It's a 1 minute 34 to put himself P6. Quite a spread over the course of the field at the moment. As we're seeing Josh Hewitt out on the mediums beginning his first run. Just double checking. So yeah, Enric is 70 points off Josh. As for the constructors, Ferrari is still comfortably leading by 63 points ahead of Sauber. We're still waiting for the other Sauber to join the lobby. Yep. Delo's still not there yet. But yeah, Emirates back into the pit lane. Remember, Frosty's done his lap on mediums, and it will be the same with Josh Hewitt. Chaz is out there, 2.4, so that's 2.5 tenths quicker than what Eggy did in the middle sector. So Chaz will cross the line, and it will be P5 for him, just in front of Ridian. Birdie invalidated. Josh Hewitt invalidated. Drifting's back out on a dry tyre this time. So John Dawson went P4 with his lap. That's actually a pretty good lap for him, considering this is his first race in the league. So he might kind of be up there. So when I guess 10th, might actually be a bit higher than that. So good work with him. I don't know the history between these two, but hopefully it's good. Simon into turn 1. Don't know if he's on a lap or not. Doesn't seem like he's pushing too hard. Birdie will obviously have to go again. Deadgun into turn 1, beginning his lap now. And across the grass is Simon. Ridian not going again. Chaz down by 2.5 tenths. John Dawson, is he on another run? No, he's back into the pit lane. So we still await for the 2 RBs, Yonder, Birdie, Josh, Simon, and Deadgun to set a lap. Same with Drifting, as he's come around the final couple corners to begin his first actual run. There we go. So Delo should hopefully join. Right, so across the line then for Drifting to begin his first flying run. Going up into turn 1 then as Delo joins. Just avoiding all that traffic that's exiting the pit lane. Takes turn 1 very nicely. On the power, and you're flat for the next few corners. Through the S section then. Left, right. Attacking every corner. Trying to shave off any fractions of thousandths you can. A little bit of a wobble as he finishes the first sector split. 25-0 as he hugs the inside. Such a tricky section that to not invalidate. Exiting in the background of the sunset. Heavy braking into the hairpin. Doesn't quite clip the apex there. Gets on the power. Just about keeps it within track limits as he rides the curb. So I'm sure when he goes again, he will hopefully hope for a better and more tidy entry there. But yeah, blasting a lot of his battery. DRS closing. Hitting the braking zone into a tight left-hand corner where you can really abuse the inside curb. Finishing the middle sector. It's a 2-0. So he's about 4 tenths quicker than what Chaz was doing in 5th. Now through the tight, twisty, technical part of the final sector. And then foot flat to the floor round the final 3 right-handers. And then you're met with the final 2 left-handers. Just got to chuck the car and hope it sticks. Take the right line. Once again, misses the apex slightly, but gets on the curb. One final corner to go. So easy to invalidate. Turning too early, and that is exactly what has happened. Drifting with a 32.5, which would have put him roughly 3rd, I think. But unfortunately, right at the end, he invalidated on the last corner. So now it's Josh Hewitt's turn round the final corner to begin his lap. Clocking nearly 200 mile an hour heading into turn 1. Heavy braking. You want to clip that inside curb, but not take too much. Takes it perfectly. Exiting the corner. We still await to see if anyone can get within a second of Enric's time, who's going again shortly behind Josh. Making his way through the S section, navigating his way beautifully 25.3, however, as he has a bit of a slide there. That's 0.3 slower than what Drifting did. As I believe Drifting's near his teammate Warren there, just getting out of the way. What about Enric? He's up by a literal 100th. As Josh makes his way onto the straight, you can see Enric there in the background. Heavy braking for the Sauber. Once again, clips the inside curb. Will finish the middle set to split. 2.0, so he's roughly where Drifting was now. So he's had a much better middle than Drifting. It's just the first set, so he lost 0.3. Yonder gets himself P3 as Chubstra managed to improve to just over 0.6 behind Enric. So Josh flat through the final 3 right-handers. And then the final 2, which can really catch you. This time takes it much better than Drifting did on the inside curb. But one final corner to go for Josh. Keeps it valid. Pushed to the line. It's a 32.0 to put himself third. And what about Enric, who's up by another half, a tenth and a bit. And oh my word, Enric goes even quicker. Jazz beginning his lap there. So we got both McLarens and both Haas's up there.
Christian's phone broke, so that's why I couldn't do attendance. I don't know why he's not racing. Oh. So yeah, that's the reason I guess Christian isn't racing in the McLaren today. His phone broke, but that's
hopefully it's just a one-off. Anyway, Chaz finishing the middle set split is in the ones at the end of the second sector, so he's on a really good lap. We got a bunch of dust getting kicked up by Frosty in front of him, however. But Chaz F1 finding some good time here, and this could minimum get him up to 4th if he can find some more time, as Drifting goes P9 with that lap in the end. We don't know how long's left of qualifying, but can Drifting maybe put in one more lap? Chaz F1 goes off, unfortunately, and validates what would have been a pretty good lap there. La Sombra currently just holding on to the top 10 as well. Eggy, I think that Red Bull in front of I'm guessing that was Dead Gun, yep. Goes up to 9th there. He may have been slightly impeded considering there was a Red Bull on the racing line. Still waiting for Simon to set a lap. Dello out there and Bluey into the pit lane. We have just under 5 minutes to go, so yeah, Drifting should definitely get another run in if he wants to. So yeah, Chaz has got one more chance to try and replicate what he did. Like I always say, the race pace is so much closer than quali pace. So whenever quali is determined by a couple thousandths, you know the race pace is going to be pretty much inseparable. But when there's a gap like that, it's going to be similar to Singapore, where depending on the right driver, like Drifting was with Enric, made a mistake, let Enric get away. Safety car wise, Josh was with Enric, but didn't let Enric get away. It'll be interesting. This is no Singapore, as a lot of the drivers are heading into the pit lane and about to exit to do their final run. However, one is about to come around the final corner, and that's Dead Gun. 5 seconds down on the pace. This should hopefully be an improvement, but it isn't, because he's a further 0.8 down on himself. Simon exiting turn 1. Dello and Bluey back into the pit. Still not done a lap. Ah, okay, cool.
Alejandro. I could just say Sombra, but yeah.
$25.9 for Simon in the first sector. He's roughly about 9/10 off the top in the first sector alone.
Enric
saying his quali pace is good, but his race pace needs work. I guess 3-second penalties are going to be quite a big factor here today. You would see a lot in the first sector and slightly the start of the second sector as well. But right now it's the calm before the storm. We've got only a few drivers out there, and even fewer actually on laps. 4.2, so that's roughly about 2.2 seconds off. Again, the top guys, which would put him roughly about 12th, 13th, depending on how much he loses in the last sector as well. For Simon, but yeah, he's got 2 corners to go then. You can see in the background into turn 1 the amount of cars exiting the pit lane. Anyway, Simon round the final corner then. This might be his final run. Unless he's fueled enough, just keeps it within track limits. Goes across the line, it's P15. So lost even more. But ahead of Deadgun, who's round the final corner to miss the pit lane. Dello and Bluey about to begin their times. So Bluey will be the first one, as we have less than 1 minute 31 seconds. Bluey will be the first one to start his final run. Everyone else behind him will follow. And at the moment, that Williams, whoever that is Simon is the last one to cross the line. So Bluey into turn 2 then, through the S section. Let's see how he takes it. Little lift in the third one as Warren goes P4 right at the end there, so he was on a lap as well. Here we go then. They're all about to begin their times, their last runs. Simon crosses the line now, followed by the Haas of Frosty Life, and then the 2 Saubers. Is Josh about to pick up a bit of a slipstream from Dello? No! Has Josh invalidated this the next lap? I think he has, unfortunately. The championship leader will stay third at best. The Alpine, that got a little close. Enric and Chubster, okay, luckily they're both not on the lap, but they are the front row at the moment. Let's look back to Bluey, who's in the middle sector. 1 minute 40. Top 2 are going to be the last 2 to cross the line then. And they're pretty close to one another on track, so Chubster could get a bit of a slipstream here. 3, 2, and 1, and they've all made it. Just at the end there, they really had to get on with it as the Williams moves out the way there. I believe that that's Simon. Yep. So Bluey to cross the line then, round the final corner, and we'll wait for the rest. Nathan's 14th, Deadgun 16th, and Bluey is 16th now. Puts Deadgun down to 17th, and Simon will be 15th. Middle sector for Dello. It's not bad, to be fair. He's got 2 cars in front of him, the Ferrari and the Haas. Frosty Life, who's up by 8/10. This is going to be probably a front row for Frosty at the moment. And he's got the Ferrari in front of him of Sombra, who's up by 4/10 round the final couple corners. So can he, on his debut, get into the top 10? The Ferrari to cross the line. It will be P4, but wait for Frosty Life to be P2. And we see Dello in the background go across the line. It's P6. So some great laps right at the end for those 3. Is that Birdie round the final couple corners? It is. And Drifting followed by him. So Birdie, currently P14, will cross the line and stays P14. Drifting, what about him? P5, got a good lap there at the end to start directly behind Josh. 5 thousandths. Now we wait for the McLarens. And Yonder pips himself above Warren, but Ridian now drops him by 2 thousandths and sets the exact same time as Dello. And right at the end there, across the line, Chaz got 7th, and Enric goes even quicker. It was never in doubt that he was going to get pole. That no one else was going to get pole, but yeah, Enric has got pole. But Frosty Life, like I said, he loves it round here, and he has got the front row. It's P2 for Frosty. Obviously what a lap from Enric, but what a lap from Frosty as well. Chubster 3rd, Josh Hewitt 4th, Drifting 5th. Sombra on his debut, P6. That is very impressive from him. Chaz 7th at the end there. I'll hopefully be happy with that. Dello 8th to make it 2 Saubers in the top 10. Ridian gets into the top 10 in qualifying. Yonder just holds on to the final spot. And then Dawson on his debut qualifies 12th. I said he'd be around 10th. And it is a dry race. I didn't see anyone really talk anything about the weather for the race, so you just assume it was going to be dry. Alejandro. Oh, okay. It's like that pepper, whatever it's called. I can't think of the name of it now. That's annoying. Jalapeno or whatever it's. Anyway, drivers will be finishing their final setup tweaks, confirming their fuel load and strategy. And will Enric pull away? Can Frosty Life potentially hold on? We know Frosty Life loves to go long with his first stint. And surely there'll be a safety car or something. But yeah, formation lap will begin then. And we'll see what the tyres look like. I can see the front row are on mediums. Okay then. So, Sombra, Dello and Warren will start on the hard compound tyres. Everyone else on the mediums. So yeah, Enric will lead us round. It should be a one-stop, medium to hard or hard-medium. There might be safety cars and whatnot to interfere with the simple strategy. Frosty Life, his best qualifying of the season. In P2 at what's arguably his best track as well. And it's great to see a driver who really likes the track do well at the track. So let's see what he can do off the line. He has the inside line. And will he try and take the lead away from Enric? Chubster P3, which is a great return to form after a few races of being around the bottom of the top 10 or even out of it sometimes. So to be third, he's showing some good quali pace. Josh here obviously didn't get his last run in, could have potentially got back to the front row or third, but he'll hold on to fourth. He's a good starter and we'll see what he can do. He knows he's needing to take less and less risks as that championship is looking better and better. And if he leads the championship after today, which I think it is literally impossible for him not to, because drifting's 27 behind and he can only score 25. So Josh will obviously lead after this, and I believe that's 13 races he will have led the World Championship, and no driver in Tier 2 history has led 13 races and not gone on to become World Champion. As drifting has to beat Josh today to close up to him and not lose out anymore. They're going to be on the grid then, lining up, as all 18 have managed to keep themselves from getting disqualified. However, Enric, I believe, has messed up his grid slot. So that allows Frosty to be much closer to him, and Ridian as well, I believe, has done the same. But we're gearing up then, as we wait for the final cars. They've all kept it very clean on the formation lap. As for the 28 laps ahead of us, that might be a different story. But here we go then. It's the United States Grand Prix in EXFL Tier 2 Season X, and we have a few jump starters with Frosty Life, Josh Hewitt and Chubster. 3 of the top 4 diving into turn 1 with a drive-through. So Frosty leads from Josh and Enric wheel to wheel into turn 1, then followed through the rest as they all managed to keep it pretty clean. And in single file towards the back, we have Deadgun in 18th. Frosty, Josh and Chubster all jump the start. As biggest gainer, well, I guess a few of the jump starts. Eggy's up 2 places as Chubster is ghosted for some reason. And Simon's up 2 places as well. So that's hugely throwing the race away as Simon off into the wall there. The Williams off as, yeah, that is quite the shock for how many jump starters there are. 3 drive-throughs then for 3 of the top 4. So that's Enric in the net lead. That's drifting up to second. I still don't know why Chubster's ghosted, but drifting is second now. La Sombra is third on his debut net P3. Chaz is up to 4th. Now make it 3rd as he's fighting with Sombra. Chaz F1 now up into net 3rd. Dello will be 5th. Ridian will be 6th. And there's an RB in the background of Nathan ghosted there. And I really want to see if Chubb's... He's still ghosted for some reason. But drifting is ahead of him because of that. So when do the top... do the 3 people with drive-thrus decide to serve their pen? Josh is all over the back of Frosty. And would it be wise to do it immediately in case there's any safety cars? Yes, those 2 are following in. And Chubster does the same. Even though he's disqualified and even though he's ghosted, he's still actually driving his car. Simon gets the first pen as if he already hasn't gone off. But Enric now retakes the lead ahead of drifting, ahead of Sombra coming back at Chaz into turn 1 for P3 on the hard compound tyres. Goes way too deep, but somehow keeps it on track and is into 3rd. There we go. So yeah, the top 2 separated by a second. 2 seconds back to Sombra on the hards. He's going to be holding up a big train down to 8th. Eggy, what a start from him, up to 8th as well. Nathan 3 second. John Dawson's up into the points as well. Warren P9 as well. Birdie up to 11th. Nathan up to 12th. Bluey up to 13th. They're all up places, obviously, because Frosty and Josh have had to serve a drive-through, but they're actually not a million miles off the train. And Chubster, really don't know why he's ghosted, but anyway, Enric has cleared drifting. And DRS is activated, so here comes Chaz F1. Blasting a bit of his battery, closing up to the Ferrari. Going to go to the inside to retake P3. Brakes later, and is up into 3rd. Good move from the Haas. But Sombra's coming back at him because Chaz didn't maximise the exits. Close to contact, but Chaz just keeps hold. And does Sombra try switch to the inside? He's going to go for it. Sends it. Keeps it parked on the apex. And he holds on as Iridian and Dello are fighting for 5th and 6th. So that's 2 times it didn't look great for Sombra, but he's held on ahead of Chaz F1. And Dello holds on ahead of Ridian, but goes off the track towards the end of the lap. And going deep is Sombra. He's not liking those hards, and that's going to allow Chaz to get right up alongside him nearly. And he's in the slipstream once again. And here comes Dello around the outside to make it 3 wide, heading into turn 1. Dello gets Sombra, Chaz up in a 3rd, and Dello still wheel-to-wheel the Ferrari. Also on the hard compound tyres, the pair of them. So Dello now becomes the lead hard runner. And yeah, great battles between them. And Chaz is going to be under huge pressure. As we see Dello go a tad wide there. But yeah, drifting, lapping around 4/10, 5/10 slower than Enric per lap. We look back to Frosty and Josh, 2 seconds off Bluey as they got past Deadgun. So it's going to be quite a comeback drive for them. As looking in to the hairpin, we see Dello going extremely deep and losing the place to Sombra. That might allow Chaz to have some breathing space. Simon has 2 penalties now. And they're all going to be blasting their battery in the slipstream. Look at Ridian as well, right near the Ferrari and the Sauber. They go wheel to wheel. They just have to watch themselves on the brakes. And Dello is ahead of Sombra. Will he go for another send? No, he's going to think better of it this time. But Ridian, using those mediums to great effect, has a run, has a little slide, has a think about a send to the inside on the Ferrari. And he has got the place, just about. But the Ferrari's still on his inside, has got the better line. And is in the slip of Dello, who's in medium for some reason. And Sombra trying to get 2 places, 3 wide. Doesn't really work. And it hasn't worked for Dello, who got quite sandwiched there with Sombra and Ridian. That's allowed Chaz F1 to really get away up into 3rd. This is great for him so far. And yeah, 3 wide didn't work for Sombra, Ridian and Dello. And now that allows Yonder up to 5th. Ridian and Yonder fighting in the championship for 7th and 8th. Separated by about 4 points as Birdie gets past Nathan, or does he? Because Nathan's got a much better exit and gets past him as Frosty and Josh have joined these 2 as they both got past Bluey. Oh, and off! Chaz F1 was P3, and now La Sombra takes P3. Big mistake from the Haas, and he's put himself right back into the train after he was so far ahead of them. And I believe that he may have just avoided getting a warning there and had to slow down. Chaos everywhere. 4 laps in. And now Sombra's going to be under huge pressure from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 7 cars in this train. John just outside of it. Frosty finding a way with Birdie and Nathan. The faster cars versus the slower ones. And it's going to get a bit tight. Eggy to the inside. Brakes so late that he's gone straight across into Chaz. And I guess rightfully so. He's got a 3-second pen. And he's going to give all those places back. So late on the brakes. That was, yeah, way too late. And he's not going to try anything else, I guess. And he lets Dello go. Warren now with a 3, closing up to these guys. And now Warren gets ahead as Ridian now lets Dello back ahead. And Warren's going to take no second invitation as well, as he's just got 2 free places there. I don't know why Ridian backed off. Maybe he had an illegal. Or maybe he just thought, why not? As here come all the 3-second pens. Warren, Eggy, John now. 3.4 seconds between drifting and Enric, as Sombra is now 1.3 clear. That was a warning, definitely. But he's over a second clear of Chaz. Let's look at fastest laps real quick. So yeah, Enric, 7/10 head of drifting, 7/10 head of Sombra, who's not doing too bad considering he's on the hards. So Chaz down in 4th with that 3. Yonder's looking pretty good at the moment in 5th. And Dello back up with them after that little slide when he got sandwiched. And Warren has made up some good places, also starting on the hards. So once again, Chaz is going to come under big pressure. John just falling a bit further away behind this 6-car train. And pulling immediately to the left. Chaz F1. Looked like he was slowing down there, but I think he was just trying to break the toe. As that allows Yonder and Dello to overtake him. And Warren stays behind for now. Chaz to the inside. Can't go back past the Sauber, so Chaz drops 2 places. Warren's going to send it to the inside on Chaz. He doesn't really leave room. He didn't really have to, but Warren still gets the place in the end. And Chaz runs into the back of the Aston and loses a bit of his wing. And Ridian's watching this unfold. Warren, the ever opportunistic, going for it. Now we have a yellow at the back. I believe that's Nathan. Chaz going for a switchback there. They're wheel to wheel into the final couple corners. And I don't think Chaz has the downforce now to try and hang it. So he's going to go into the pit lane and change his wing and hopefully come back out onto the track. Let's look at Josh and Frosty and Chubster. So Frosty still ahead of Josh. Chubster 1.9 behind. I believe Chubster may have had this issue once before this season where he's ghosted the whole time for some reason. So Chaz is in, fixes his nose, puts the hard compound tyres on, will exit back out, hopefully just in front of Deadgun and Simon. 5 seconds now, Enric to drifting, who's just doing a really good job right now in second, as obviously he hopes to close on Josh Hewitt. He knows this is a big opportunity for him to close from 27 points down. And at the moment, it would go down to 9 points as John Dawson gets his second pen. But we know Josh Hewitt will probably score points in this race. And he's going to have to try and work with Frosty Life here. As we look back to the big battle from 4th. Dello now doing his part. And I'm guessing when Josh joins this train, which he probably will, Dello's probably going to be more of a team player than he was in Baku a fortnight ago. Josh Hewitt then clearly passed Frosty Life as they're closing up to John. Eggy all over the back of Ridian. He's lucky to have a front wing, really. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars still in this train. 1.8 behind Lasombro, who might actually be closing down on drifting. I'm not too sure. We'll have to look in a few laps' time. The gap right now is 3 seconds, pretty much. Considering he's on the hards, drifting's on the mediums. By the end, Lasombro will be on the better strategy. And look, yeah, 3.1 under 3 seconds now. So Lasombra on his debut showing really good pace. Dello yonder. We see John into the pit lane now. 7 laps in only on those mediums. Are they really that... do they really fall off that quickly? Anyway, pits for the hards. Chaz came out in 16th ahead of the 2 in last. John exiting the pit lane. He's going to be close with Chaz, to be honest. There's the McLaren. There's the Haas. Looks like Chaz is ahead. And John rejoins behind him. Deadgun with a pen. That makes the bottom 6 all with a time pen. And I guess if there is a safety car, that does bring Josh and Frosty right back into it. They have a 7-second gap they have to try and close to a 5-car train for 4th. They currently lack 19 seconds off the leader. So when Enric pits, it actually might be close. Anyway, let's look back to this battle. Warren to the inside, trying to get past Yonder. Leaves him enough space and has got the place. Warren making ever more moves. Is the Aston Martin to make 2 Astons in the top 5. Frosty getting past Josh there. I'm going to quickly change my batteries.
So the gap was 3 seconds. Now it's 1.7. Sombra really using those hards to good effect, and it has gone from 1.8 to 3 seconds to Dello. So a bit of an opposite switch right now in terms of gaps. Drifting with 40, Enric with plenty. It looks like Sombra is going to be closing down P2, which will really help Josh Hewitt with 3 less points he has to worry about. 1.9, 1.8 for Chubster. Chaz gets past Nathan before the last corner. So he's trying to make up some moves as he's closing on Bluey now. The two RBs getting in the fight. And looks like Chaz has a run around the outside of Bluey. And speeds past the RB. And now it's John's turn to try and get the two. As he'll close up to them. The two RBs getting very close together. And that's going to be holding John up a bit. And he really has to avoid. As we'll look at that in a set. Look into the end. Single file for all of them. So we'll look back to John, who has got the two RBs. But look at that time he's lost to Chaz. Nearly 3 seconds now. Looks like the two RBs might be battling a bit soon. 1.2 now between Sombra and Drifting. Is it time for Drifting to pit? It's only lap 8. About to be lap 9. I would have thought lap 10, 11, 12. It's probably the earliest they'd pit. But we saw John pit on lap 7. Obviously, Chaz pitted a lap earlier because he had damage. And we have a yellow. Is that Birdie? That is Birdie. And P12 as... what's happened here? Well, Deridian's going into the pits. That's fine. And now the bottom, 7 all have time pens? Because I think Birdie got a time pen as well. Chubster lacking a few... Considering these two are swapping, that's not bad pace from Chubster to only be losing a couple tenths. And we see Sombra within a second of Drifting now. And Delo's still doing a good job ahead of Warren, but I'm sure Warren will want to be P4 soon. Yonder trying to keep within a second of these guys on the mediums that are probably falling off. And Eggy as well. It's Josh Hewitt now. Gets a 3-second time penalty. Loses the rear massively. And loses DRS. He's made a big mistake there. That might be another warning as well for the Sauber. So that will be music to Drifting's ears. However, he's got a Ferrari alongside him that's going to take 3 points away from him now. The Sombra on his debut. Really impressive stuff. Up into second. And now we see Eggy fighting with Warren, who was right on the back of Dello, but Warren is now nearly falling to the back of the train. Eggy still fighting away with the Aston, has to back off for now. So with Ridian pitting, he's going to try and get an undercut on these guys. As Chaz gets past Birdie. I think that went well, just about. Yeah, Drifting's in. That's why. John Dawson, another time pen. Dello checking his mirrors because he still has 3 cars behind him who are not pitting. So it looks like Ridian's going to get a pretty nice undercut if he has the pace for it. So where does Drifting emerge? He sees his rival, I guess, Josh Hewitt, pass him. But these two still have to obviously make a pit stop. Frosty Life went into the pits as well. So Drifting in some clear air there. There's Ridian. So that you can see how much time Ridian's gained as Warren is past Yonder up into 4th. They're more than a second behind Dello. Some corners where you would really not expect some overtakes. I think we've got more overtakes there than on the straights so far this race. Dawson's past Birdie. Chubster nearly within a second of Josh, who's I'm sure really struggling on those mediums. It's 1,000th. It's under a second. They have already passed the detection, however. Yet Chubster has got the DRS. Now Chubster can for some reason use this ghosting to his advantage. If it's not already a disadvantage, he can just maybe ghost through Josh if he has a run. I don't know. They're a bit more spaced out. Warren's back within a second of Dello. And Enric can just respond, really. That's all he's got to do in this race. He knows he's got a good gap. So even with Drifting pitting early, he can stay out a few laps. And there's Chaz in the background. Even with a wing change, he hasn't actually lost too much to these guys. Obviously, he did pit on lap 6, so that's probably why. Anyway, do we see any of these 4 pit? No.
And when will Josh decide to pit? Not now. Chubster, however, does. It's a pit lane that some may go a bit deep. It could warrant the odd mistake as we see the two RBs swapping there. Chubster puts the hard compound tyres on then. And where will he come out in response to Frosty? Should be roughly behind Birdie. He's drifting 4.4 seconds off Josh Hewitt. He should hopefully not catch him before Josh pits. And there's Chubster in the pit lane. Yep, behind Birdie. Headgun for some reason still not in the lobby. So the Sombra's going to be on the mediums towards the end and in a pretty good position. Delo's doing a really good race. We can see Warren blasting all his battery. And knowing Warren, he will go for it. And he has gone for it. He leaves the space for Delo, but he is ahead. And will Delo brake later? Warren leaves the space once again. Knows he's there. Warren has the better momentum now and the inside line. And the Aston, who, started 11th, is now in 3rd. Some really strong races from him and Eggy and Yonder so far, and all of them really. They did obviously get help with 3 places because of the drive-thrus. I really don't know who jumped the start first, but whoever did, I'm pretty sure the other 2 reacted because of that. As we see Enric into the pit lane. So, La Sombra, in his debut, will lead a lap. Then Warren, then Delo, then Yonder, then Eggy, then Enric exits the pit lane as Josh Hewitt now pits. So drifting was about, 7, 8 seconds behind Enric, and it looks like that gap has stayed how it is, pretty much on the dot. So Josh Hewitt then will exit the pit lane, and we see Chubster closing up. Has Chubster managed to undercut Josh Hewitt? It looks like he has. Into turn 1 then. So that is not worked out for the Sauber as we see Frosty Life getting back into the points now ahead of John Dawson. So yeah, Frosty, who usually does extend his first stint, thought better of it and pitted earlier than Chubster and Josh anyway, and that's worked out pretty well. Delo and Warren swapping. So this time Delo has the inside line, and Warren can't really hang it around, has to go off the track, gets a 3-second time penalty. That looked a bit more his own choice there. But yeah, Delo's in front. And Warren's staying behind for now. These 4... Well, 2 of them are on hards, and these 2 medium runners are just trying to keep with them, really. So the top 3 all on hards, so they're still going to go a bit longer into this race. As Josh has already caught Chubster there. So he's back in front in P12. As Yonder does decide to pit. Eggy stays out. So, look at that, Enric's already caught the train nearly. Yonder into the pit lane then. Chaz F1 gets a second time pen. Drifting, lapping about 3/10 slower than Enric. So the gap's closer on the hards compared to the mediums when they were both on it. That was around 4 to 5 tenths. This is around 3. So where did Yonder rejoin? He's rejoined with Chaz F1 as they're wheel to wheel heading into the S section. And who's going to back off? It has to be Chaz F1 it seems, but Yonder is going to still be under big pressure from the Haas. As we see the 2 RBs have some distance as Nathan's into the pit lane. We still have all 18 running as we're about to enter the halfway stage of the race. And we see in the background for the 3rd lap in a row, Delo and Warren swap, but this time Enric is close to Eggy. And Warren, will he try a switch on Delo? Will he have a send on Delo? He thinks better of it. And Enric doesn't really have to worry if he gets held up too much. He's got a 9-second lead after all. He knows these guys are going to pit soon. And Eggy just having to avoid Warren there. Enric has a good run. Will he try and move around the outside? No, he's just in none. And you can see he's already lost 1 whole second to drifting there because of these guys. These 2 won't pit. Eggy might. He won't. Eggy's going to do half the race on mediums. And I'm sure Enric will now try and maybe make a move on Eggy, who is using his battery, to be fair, to stay ahead. Enric knows he doesn't really have to try any risk. As we see Warren and Dello drive off the track there together. And 4 wide between them all. Can they make it? 4 wide, unbelievable. Oh, they've made contact with Dello going off there. And Enric's got past all of them. Oh, unfortunately, Dello has been spun there. There was just no risk, no need. But there was 4 wide heading into turn 2. As Enric's pushing Warren to get on with it. That's allowed Drifting to probably gain quite a few tenths. The spare for Dello, however. Birdie with another pen. And for the second time this race, Dello has been sandwiched. And Enric flies past Warren. Here comes Eggy as well. Warren's still kind of there with Enric. He has to defend from Eggy, however, to the inside. But Warren breaks much later to stay in front. Surely you'd expect Eggy to pit this lap. Update on Josh Hewitt. 2.5 behind Frosty. Has left Chubster, who's fighting with John Dawson. So at the moment, Josh Hewitt, as Chaz gets another time pen, Josh Hewitt might only be on for 1 point at the moment. Maybe not even that if Chubster stays within 3 sets. So at the moment, Josh is 11th. And Drifting is net what? Well, he's probably going to get back up in a second. As, that's Eggy, right? Yeah, Eggy into the pit lane. We have a yellow, however. Rydia now gets a time pen. What's the yellow for? Is that dead? I actually don't know what that was for. Oh my god. Simon off at turn 1. Went straight on for some reason. Getting out of the way of all those guys. Josh Hewitt, fastest lap of the Grand Prix now. He's turned up the wick. Eggy rejoins the pit lane. There's Josh Hewitt to get into the points potentially. There's Eggy. Cuts him off just about and gets up in a P10. Simon, 10 seconds for cutting the corner. Well, that's clear as day, and that's probably going to be a virtual, thank goodness, because, well, another idiot has done that, hasn't it? So, well, I mean, it could still help some of the hard runners. Seemed like Deadgun's struggling with Wi-Fi. The VSC is over. No one got a drive through, so luckily that didn't cause anything. The only thing it helped really is battery, which I guess everyone actually might be happy with that. Anyway, lap 16. La Sombra continues to lead. Enric has already nearly caught him. Warren's finally into the pit lane. Drifting will be... Look at that. He's only... Oh, wait, never mind. He's catching up to his teammate, who's now into the pit lane. Dello stays out. Ridian got 2 pens in the last however many laps. If there's a safety car, Yonder's looking pretty good. Same with Frosty Life, same with Chubster. Anyway, exiting the pit lane then is Warren. On the mediums, he's going to be very quick. It's going to be close with Josh Hewitt, but he's ahead. So that's Josh up to 9th now. As Warren, I think, cut the corner there. There's Eggy off into the background, who's over a second behind Warren. And that's probably the closest the gap will be. We see probably going to be a swap for the lead here. This is probably going to be where Enric takes the lead, holds on to it for the rest of the race, and sails to victory. He goes so wide to avoid any sort of contact. There was never going to be any anyway. Enric takes the lead back again then of the United States Grand Prix. Sombra still in second. Drifting 9 seconds off Sombra, so he's clearly got a big undercut. But Sombra's going to be very quick. The 2 Haas cars swap with Frosty Life now ahead of Chaz. As Josh not a million miles away from these guys. Chaz, obviously, is going to have really old hards compared to everyone else. As we see Dello and Ridian fighting. Looks like Dello's caught up to the Williams. But Dello still has to pit, I believe. So Ridian doesn't really have to fight him too badly. They're catching up to a lapped car, I believe, Deadgun, who will probably get disqualified.
There we go. Delo's in. And so is Sombra. So if you want to look at the mini-map, heading into turn 1 is Drifting, and then all the way back to Chubster. They're actually pretty close. And it looks like that's where Delo and Sombra are going to feed out. Sombra feeds out into 5th then, ahead of Frosty. So he's got some good clean air. And P5 minimum on debut, ignoring any pens or whatnot, is great. He can chase after Yonder now. As for Delo, he's unfortunately dropped into 13th. He'll still be quick on those mediums, but yeah. So Josh Hewitt with in P8, right behind Chaz. So Josh still trying to pick up some good points. Drifting knows he's got 18 of them at the moment. That would put him at least up into 2nd in the World Championship. 27 points behind Josh at the moment. Josh would, let's say, he finishes 8th as he's all over the back of Chaz. Okay, let's say 7th then. 6, 12. The gap would go down to 15 points between Josh and Drifting. And it looked like Chaz didn't really want to fight that. Birdie gets another time pen. So Josh up into 7th now. It's all dependent on Chubster, really, and Delo. If they're within 3 seconds of Josh at the end and they don't get pens themselves. Is Chubster going to use the ghosting to his effect? Probably, actually, as Eggy gets another time pen. And will Chubster... No, Eggy's still there, but he goes extremely deep. But Chubster's still behind. As we see wheel-to-wheel action, Warren now gets past Chaz. I believe it was these two that gave Chaz his wing damage on lap 6 as Delo gets past Dawson. A lot of overtakes happening on lap 17 as they head on to lap 18. And you can see Warren pulling away now. Unfortunate for Chaz that he had to pit early because of the damage. Frosty Life's unfortunately left now. And that's going to... That's going to put Josh up a place. Really unfortunate for for both Hassers now. That's given Josh an extra 2 points. Sombra closing up to Yonder. Right on the limit there. So Ridian's holding down 3rd at the moment because he pitted so early. He's got a huge undercut on a lot of cars. And don't know if Sombra... Yeah, he will pick up some DRS because of that disconnected car. So I think Drifting's just keeping it constant now, just trying to bring the car home. He knows there's not really any point pushing. He's got fresher tyres than Ridian. He knows the only threat in his race really is Sombra, who is about 7 seconds off him. But with a 3-second right there, that's going to be fine for Drifting. Whoa, there's a big crash between Josh Hewitt and Warren. Do not know what happened there. They connected and Josh Hewitt, the championship leader, has got half a wing missing. So Warren, the ever opportunistic, usually gets involved with some contact, has got involved with some contact. And I don't know really whose fault that was. We caught it right at the end. Josh has to pit again. And suddenly this blows things quite out of the water again. So Josh will pit for what I'm going to assume is mediums. And yeah, that's destroyed Warren and Josh's race. That helps Frosty Life. He's back in his car now. Hasn't really lost anything. Chaz is giving him the push, saying, come on, get on with it. Let's pull away from Eggy and Chubster. Yeah, Frosty's back in his car now. Oh, wow. What on earth has happened there? Josh Hewitt. They haven't even fixed his wing. What? That's detrimental damage. I don't know why the game needs to even think auto is not yes or whatnot, but they have... Oh, it's despair for the championship leader. And if Drifting really can hold on to P2 now, as we see in the background, Yonder getting overtaken by Sombra, who is going to be really close to Drifting at the end. But with that 3, Drifting just has to keep within 3. Yonder, Sombra's up to 4th then on debut, and it looks like it's going to be a podium, which would be a fantastic result for the reserve. Yonder trying to hold on to a P5, maybe even higher if he can stick within 3 seconds of Ridian, which I'm pretty sure he can, so maybe even a 4th for the McLaren. But yeah, 27 points, will go down to 9. Are we about to see a new contender? We thought it was Josh versus Sam for the rest of the season, with Drifting as the dark horse, as the 3rd wheel. But with Sam missing some races, it's allowed Drifting to maximise, and he is maximising as much as he can. We knew Enric would throw a spanner in this, making the points gap Obviously, that 7 points difference from first to second. Quite a lot to lose out on. But yeah. Enric looking for his 5th win of the season now. But Drifting looking to have some spark reignited on his championship. Remember, Drifting led the championship for about 6 or 7 races at the start. And then we had 4 different other people lead. And Drifting's just been around 3rd, 2nd or 4th. But right now, the spark may be reignited. It was never out of doubt. It was never out of question that he could still not win. It was just today is looking really good. But this is EXFL Tier 2. It's not over until it's over. And now we're seeing Sombra, who's going to probably clear Ridian now with the battery, with the DRS. But Ridian is going defensive. And we see Yonder making it 3 wide. This is going to halt the Ferrari, who has the inside line, however, and should still get ahead, which he does. So Ridian, try as he might, drops down to 5th now. And Yonder up to 4th. Sombra has to gain 3.7 on Drifting in 8 laps. And technically it's more like 6.7. Anyway, we look back to Frosty, who has cleared Chaz, who's dropped 2 places behind Chubster and Eggy. So clearly his hards are wearing off, and Dello will surely get ahead of him as well. Well, Josh will be 11th at the moment. But look at that. Look at that gap between 11th to 10th. If he tries, Josh might beat Chaz because of the pens. But yeah, everyone outside the top 10 has a time penalty. Oh yeah, when Eggy brake too late at the end of the straight, he put in the chat when he went into the pit lane, sorry to whoever I hit. So there might be a pen for Eggy. He hit Chaz. That was it. But yeah, Josh with that wing damage is going to be struggling. Texas has usually been kind to Josh Hewitt, but today it is not. 2.2 now. It really does look like Sombra could beat Drifting and get 3 seconds on him. So if Drifting scores 15 points, 27 goes down to 12. And I believe that might be a yellow. Josh Hewitt's lost his whole front wing now. I really don't know if he was pushing too hard or that was some kind of attempt. Hopefully it wasn't. It's better than that. We see Dello and... oh my god. We see both Hasses fighting. And both Hasses getting overtaken, I believe. That's Eggy up in the 6th ahead of Frosty Life. And that's Dello up in the 9th ahead of Chaz. Chubster still in the middle. Still ghosted. Birdie gets a 4th time penalty. And yeah, at the moment... they're all kind of separated a little bit. And I guess they're still going to try and keep with Eggy because he has 6 seconds of pens. Someone who's really good at not getting pens. Well, he did get kind of a straight 3 after he braked too late. Sombra's now within a second of Drifting. He's going to have to hope those mediums fall off soon. Drifting's actually been keeping the gap kind of constant to Enric. Only lost a second over the last few laps. But Enric, I'm pretty sure, is not worrying about anything at the moment. We still haven't had a safety car or anything. We've had 1 VSC because Simon. Dello all over the back of Chubster. He knows really whenever anyone can fight Chubster in this race, it's not really going to end in disaster, is it? Yonder now gets a time pen. And Frosty Life now gets a time pen. And Chaz now gets another time pen. So, as Josh is under pressure from... oh my god, it's Warren again. Yeah, you can see how much time Josh has lost and he can't do anything about it. And yeah, bad day gets even worse for the championship leader. I don't know why he hasn't changed his wing. Now I guess another time pen. And hopefully just... oh yeah, that's probably what was going to happen. The championship leader is out of the race. And he will score no points today. And Josh Hewitt has retired from the session. Will be a delight to the eyes of Drifting. But what's not a delight is when he looks in his mirrors and sees a Ferrari breathing down his neck with 6 laps to go. And Yonder's not a million miles away either. Despair for Josh Hewitt at the moment. So, as for Sam, actually, now thinking about it, Sam L, who was 18 points behind Josh Hewitt, will still be 18 points behind Josh Hewitt. And Drifting, 15 or 12,
it will still put him to second. And it looks like with 5 races to go, we will have a 3-way fight for the World Championship. Because Drifting will get it down to either 9 or 12 points. That's 18 points, covers the top 3. So yeah, that should certainly be fine. I believe 4th in the championship is Eggy with 8, but he's lacking about 20 points behind Drifting. So that's going to be even further now, near towards 30. So, happiest man at the moment, probably Sam L. Or Enric. But Drifting's probably close to that. But now he's under big pressure. He's got barely any battery left. And Sombra is going to fly past the Aston Martin up into P2. He has that 3 second, remember. He might be investigated for 1 or 2 things earlier in the race. But he's up in a second. And now Drifting just has to try and keep with him. I wouldn't discount Yonder either. He's been a bit under the radar at the moment, but he's driving a fantastic race at the moment. Delo's close with Frosty as well. Just avoids him. They're right on the back of Eggy as well. Delo knows, even after those 2 bits where he got sandwiched, he could still walk away here with 6th place. Chubbs not a million miles away either. He could also get 6th from a drive-through as well. And look at that. Yonder's really closing on to Drifting. But once again, Drifting knows he just has to stick within 3. As we see, he's in medium, is Sombra. And while they're slowing down, that allows Yonder to get ever closer into DRS. Drifting knows he's got 5 laps to not lose 3 seconds to Sombra. And what a treat we're in for in these final 5 races. These last 2 races have really decided a lot and have set the stage. With Sam missing 2 races, well, I certainly thought Josh Hewitt will run away with it now. But then the case of today, as Delo now gets a time pen, that's glorious for Chubster. This really is going to be a 3-horse race for the title. Drifting versus Josh versus Sam. Mexico, Brazil, Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. Well, Drifting's pretty good here at Texas. He says he loves this track. And at the moment, it's this track that I think has just given him so much burst of excitement for the final 5 races. As you can see, he's clearly keeping with Sombra. Has he lost some wear in those mediums? It looks like it. And Drifting, as long as he doesn't get a time pen, I don't know how many warnings he's on, he's looking good. I'm sure he would have liked the win, as there's a yellow. I believe that's an incident between Frosty Life and Delo. Another Sauber. This time he loses his left-hand side of his wing. And once again, 2 cars have come together. But I don't think there's enough time for a safety car. I think that this is the last lap for a safety car. So somehow we've avoided it. Otherwise, Chubster would potentially be on for a podium. But yeah, Delo, 3rd time this race, has been involved in something. That's going to allow Chaz F1 to potentially get back up into the points. Or, I mean, he was anyway, but still. He's fighting away with John Dawson there. As obviously Chaz's hards are... Oh, he pitted for softs. Never mind. Right at the end. So that's going to... He might get up in a 9th here, but Frosty obviously has 3 to Chaz's 12. So, 3-way fight on track for P2. And we see Frosty unfortunately fall out of the points. He just has to keep within 9 seconds, however, of some cars. He might still pick up a point. Chubster is looking good for P6. Ridian a bit on his own, but a P5 will be solid for him. Drifting, definitely keeping within 3 seconds of Sombra. Going a bit deep, however. That's putting Yonder all over the back of him. Drifting knows, right? 1 year ago, he lost out on a place because he was within 3 seconds of the car ahead, and then he fought with someone and lost that chance. He's pretty much in the same chance now, except it's 1 place lower. It's not for the win, it's for second. And it is for 3 crucial points. He's either going to be 12 points behind the championship leader, or he's going to be 9 points behind the championship leader. At the moment, it's 9. But he just needs to stick within 3 seconds of Sombra. At the moment, it's over a second for the first time. He just dips it under. He still has the DRS, and is blasting his battery to keep it within 3 seconds. Yonder has plenty of battery here, and Drifting. As we can see, Sombra struggling. They might get DRS. Well, he might get DRS from this RB coming up. But Enric, once again, is a 20-second lead like it has been a few times this season. And we have 3 laps to go of what has been a very interesting United States Grand Prix. So many people with time penalties. The only 3 not to get one. Enric, Drifting, and Chubster. With Chubster ghosted, I guess he could see more. I don't know if that's an advantage or he's just... Well, Chubster's not... he's pretty good at not getting pens. But here we go then. Did the Ferrari get DRS? He did. Sombra. But even so, Drifting's with him. And here comes Yonder to try and make a double overtake round the outside. Here goes the McLaren, and he's got him. So Yonder now takes the podium away from Sombra. Drifting knows he just has to stay with these guys to beat them both, because I don't really see any of them getting it removed. But now these two are fighting for the podium. It's McLaren versus Ferrari. Chubster should hang on to 6. Dello, out of everything, is still going to get 8th as Warren and Dawson are fighting for 10th and 11th, and Frosty's right behind them. So here comes Warren with the battery. Dawson closing over to the left, trying to defend from the Aston. Warren to the inside. Comes crack across. They make slight contact, and now they crash with Warren spinning out. That allows Frosty up to 11th. Warren spins around. And Dawson under pressure from Frosty Life now, who should clear him. Actually, I think, yeah, Frosty's missing the left part of his wing there. Dawson cuts the corner. And a bad race gets even worse for Warren. No chance of a safety car, however. We've got 1.5 laps left. Deadgun will be disqualified. That means we will have lost 3 people. Chaz gets a 5th penalty. Still don't really know if he's going to get points in this race. He might just hang on to 10th. And Frosty will get 9th. Frostlife, fastest lap of the Grand Prix then, to extend his all-time record. But here we go again then. Drifting managed to get past the Ferrari there. Looks like Sombra's mediums are really falling off. But he has saved a lot of battery, to be fair. It may be an attack to get Yonder, because Yonder is going to be quite under pressure on the last lap. Here comes Sombra. Drifting knows he doesn't really need to fight him too hard. They go wheel to wheel, leaves him the space, and Drifting doesn't fight it hard. You can see he's backed off there. So he lets Sombra have it. And these two are now going to head into the last lap, both fighting for P3. But who's going to get it? Will it be Yonder for another podium for his season tally? Will it be Sombra on debut, who's clearly been very impressive today, and hopefully we'll see him more in the races to follow, as John Dawson now gets the 5th penalty as well. Enric has started his last lap, 23 seconds in the lead. He has been untouchable since the 3 people served their drive-through, and we can already see a swap into turn 1 between Sombra and Yonder. So now Sombra is ahead, but Yonder will have the DRS, and it looks like there are some games going to be played as none is activated for the lead car of this battle. They're all in none. They're saving all their battery. Look at that. Sombra's just got no pace on those mediums anymore, it seems. They've completely fallen off. But is he far enough ahead of Yonder, who had a full battery to use? And this is going to be quite closely timed with Enric crossing the line soon. But here we go then. It looks like Sombra's actually got quite a decent gap ahead of 6/10. So it doesn't look like Yonder will be close enough, but he is going to be gaining in that slipstream with the battery, with the DRS. Is he close enough for a move on the Ferrari? He's going to try a little send, but he doesn't quite go for it. But he makes him lock up. And that allows Yonder, as Chaz is out of the race, to get alongside the Ferrari. Round the outside goes Yonder. He gets covered off by the Ferrari, who's losing the rear again. Can he send it to the inside? He gets defensive, but he's going to go deep again as Enric wins the United States Grand Prix. And we're going to now see who's going to finish 3rd. Yonder versus the Ferrari. Here comes Yonder around the outside to fight Sombra. They're both fighting for P3. Yonder to the inside gets the move. Sombra still there, drifting, watching this unfold. He will pick up 2nd. Who's going to pick up 3rd? Round the outside on debut. It's going to be Sombra beating Yonder, and Drifting gets 2nd. What a finish at the end. Sombra on debut finishes 3rd, just ahead of the McLaren. Ridian 5th, Chubster 6th, Eggy 7th, Dello 8th. I do not know what happened to Chaz, why he retired on the last lap. But that might allow Warren to get a point now. Wow, what an ending. Dello
8th for Sauber. It's been a dreadful race for that team. Frosty, disappointing, but he'll still pick up some points in 9th. Warren will come home for P10 out of all of that. And Dawson will be 11th. Chaz will still finish 12th, ahead of 4 cars, even though he retired. But yeah, Enric wins. And he will be able to do interviews now. Yeah, the Ferrari just kept it right at the end there. Just about kept on track round the exit, the last corner. And what is it again? Alejandro is a podium on debut. What a debut.
Jaden, just want to inform you with quick. I'm really, really sorry what I'm about to say, but I bought the wrong microphone. I can send you a pic. It's for HyperX. I got the fucking wrong one. So that means like next week is really going to be my comeback in the interviews. I'm really, really sorry. It's really, really sad, but yeah, that's my fault. And yeah, next week. At Mexico, which is also one of my favorite tracks. There I can 100%ly do the interviews. My bad, really. That's on me. But next week, yeah. And what a win, man! What a win.
Alright, so unfortunately Enric bought the wrong microphone or connector or whatnot, so he can't do interviews, unfortunately, but he said he will be back next week in Mexico, another one of his favourite tracks, so that should be interesting. But we'll get drifting in the party, and well, unfortunately I can't invite the Sombra because he's not Xbox, so it'll just be drifting. But yeah, well done to both first and third, and we'll talk to Alex, who I'm sure will be happy, very happy with P2 whenever he decides to join. Wow, what an ending to that race. It was a good race overall. Hope you all enjoyed it. Yep. Josh Hewitt, 9 points ahead of Drifting, who's 9 points ahead of Sam. 3-way fight for this World Championship. Game on. But it would be nice if Drifting could join the party. Good to see between Yonder and Sambra saying GG for that battle at the end there. That was great. It looked like the Ferrari was going to easily hold on, but then he went deep at literally every corner after the end of the straight. Still allowed Yonder a lot of chances. And I really thought Yonder round the outside of those 3 rights was going to have him, but then it was very close. And then Yonder even lost it across the line. Ah. So it was Frosty Life who jumped the start, and Josh and Chubster reacted to him. Oh no. I'm guessing Frosty really wanted a good launch, considering Enric messed up the formation so he could take the lead, but he went a bit too early. Still waiting for drifting. All right. So, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Are you able to include your audio? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Drifting, hello. Right.
Hello, yeah.
So well done to Enric on the win. He will be able to do interviews next week. He bought the wrong microphone, the idiot. And well done to Zambro on P3 for podium on debut. That must have been.
Did you get your popcorn out for the last lap? Watching that battle?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Anyway, great race from you. You qualified 5th after the drive-throughs. How funny must that have been from your POV to see 3 of the top 4 jump the start?
I was gonna take the piss because I was in a call with Yonder and John Dawson. I was gonna like boo just before the lights went out to see how many of them which one of them got the drive-through. And then turns out Frosty must have heard my idea and thought it was so good he did it himself.
And that allowed Hewitt and Chubster to follow.
So you were second by the end. Unfortunately, because of those lot having to drive through, you were over a second, I believe, behind Enric, so couldn't really stick with him. And then obviously went away. You fell under.
It's what Enric.
Yeah, you fell under some pressure from Alejandro in the Ferrari in the first stint. Then you pitted obviously very early, so you were ahead of him. Then he caught back up towards the end. Then it really did look like his mediums fell off.
Yeah, me and Yonder were saying because we had front row seats. He was locking up turn 1, turn 12, and turn 13 each lap.
Oh right,
Yeah.
I was like, drifting has to just stick within 3 of him, and it was never more than a second.
Remember the last time I had to stick within a 3 or so?
I literally brought it up. Yep. How many warnings were you on?
1, and that was because I cut turn 1. I think it was the first lap.
Oh, okay, that's fair then.
Wow, really impressive stuff then, considering only you, Enric, and Chubster didn't get pens that race.
But
sad.
the big news after, first, really well done, P2, great result. You are now up into P2 in the championship. 9 points.
I saw
Josh
the thing.
Hewitt,
Yeah, Josh Hewitt's got
9
9 to
ahead of
me, and I've
Sam.
got 9.
Yep.
Yeah, 18 points
Perfect.
separates the top 3.
5 racers, 3 drivers, 1 title. Here we go.
And how are you feeling about Mexico next week?
I didn't do it last season, so yeah.
Did
you? No, I went to Yankland.
Oh yeah, all right, fair enough. So that's a bit of an unknown. Once again, you got a good lap in right at the end to get P5 in quali. I believe, was it? Like, what happened to your first run? Did you invalidate? Or...
Yeah, basically. Final corner, I got this and next. So yeah.
Yeah. Josh Hewitt also had that for his final run.
Oh yeah,
So,
probably
yeah,
explains why he straight line turn 1.
Yeah. Yeah. He had some incident with Warren, lost half his wing. The team didn't change his wing, so he came back out in like 12th or whatever with half a wing, and then he crashed and lost his whole wing, and then he just gave up on track. Literally pressed the retire from session.
Is there a penalty for that? Or
Yeah,
not
he'll
really?
get 2 BPs.
Ah.
I don't know what that gives him, but
Probably
but
nothing.
yeah, when that
considering he's
message
got
came
not
up,
much.
I'm pretty sure a smile came across your face.
No, I shit myself because what lap was it, like 23, 24?
4.
Because the thing is, I didn't want a safety car. I knew for a fact if I got a safety car, I would have been rammed.
I honestly don't know how Simon didn't cause one. He literally just went into the wall on purpose and took himself out. I don't know how we only got a VSC, which didn't even change anything. The only thing it changed was battery. So yeah, somehow we didn't get a safety car in that. But yeah,
I mean, it was not like you were ever not in doubt. You were only 27 behind, but now you are right in this. After leading the championship for about 6 of the first 8 races, and then looming around 2nd, 3rd, 4th.
If
you're
it
back
wasn't
in it
for
fully.
China, if it wasn't for China,
You and Josh both DNF'd in China, and Sam didn't race China.
I got P4.
But yeah, I know.
Sorry, what?
I got P4. I didn't DNF.
Yeah. Wait, what? What do you mean if it wasn't for China? I thought. Wait, are you on about
No,
Japan, or-
No, I'm on about. If we remove both China and Japan, and theoretically I'm top of the championship, because I think out of 3 of us, I scored the least amount of points.
Sam got 25. You got 12. Josh got 8, I think.
Ah, okay, yeah, no, then.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how it goes, I guess. Racy. Obviously, you don't win a championship in one race. You win it over the course of a season.
Yeah.
And we have 5 races to go then. And yeah, you better lock in. I'm sure Josh and when he's done, like being in whatever state he is right now of his mood, and Sam as well. Hopefully, Sam won't miss any more. But yeah, it's looking interesting. So yeah, that was the United States Grand Prix.
Carry on. Finish your thing first.
Yeah, that was the United States Grand Prix, round 17. Well done to the top 3. And yeah, on to Mexico we go.